misunderstandings. Definitely, Bayezid used to talk in Persian, a special Persian dialect at that time in Bastan, in Homs. When he said that هیچ چراغی روشن‌تر از خاموشی ندیدم, I did not see any lamp with more light than silence. You know this paradoxical approach. In Hikmat al-Ishraq of Sohrawardi said that Bayezid, Kharabani, Hallaj, and Abu al-Abbas al-Qassab are Khamiratul Khosrawaniyin. You know, Khosrawaniyin means the pre-Islamic period, wisdom of pre-Islamic period in Persia. And Sohrawardi tries to bring that up and combine it with Islamic teachings. And he claims that these people, these figures, Bayezid, Kharabani, and Hallaj, and Abu al-Abbas al-Qassab. Abu al-Abbas al-Qassab was the master of Kharabani. Hikmat al-Ishraq, Sohrawardi said that the essence of Khosrawaniyin, means that the pre-Islamic wisdom, is narrated by some figures, including Bayezid. However, whatever the situation was, it's better to ask them not to make noises. They don't want to understand that there is not any lamp more light with more light than silence. They don't want to be. One mystery is that the word light, nur, is seen in almost all of the titles of the writings surrounding that period of civilization of the Islamic world of Khorasan. For example, Sahlaki, when he writes about Bayezid, collecting his words, the name is Kitab al-Nur, the book of light. And the collection of the sayings of Kharabani called Nur al-Ulum, again, the light of knowledge. Hallaj, Nur al-Nur, Haml al-Nur. And all of these different expressions using the word Nur, all of them refers to that famous verse of the Quran, Allah, Nur al-Samawat wal-Arz, مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يزيغ ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور. So this is the heart of this verse of the Quran, is the heart of all of this understanding. I mean, Message reader, can you please ask them not to? If you go in details to the explanations of what they say, these kind of figures, almost all of them refers to this Ayatul Nur at the base for all of this language they created. Bayezid, as we see in Kitab al-Nur, For example, he said, "Oh God, why do you punish those who don't know you?" Because we have in the ordinary language of religion that those who don't know God, they will be punished. But as he said that, "Oh God, why do you punish those who don't know you? Why don't you punish me, the one who knows you?" Said that, "Because I know you, I will discover, I will disclose some secrets that make me to deserve punishment, because that will create problem in the ordinary minds." Abu Musa is somebody from Bastam who was companion of Bayezid. He said that I took 400 of Bayezid's words to grave with me, as I found no one to have the merit to listen to them. Means that the society did not have the capacity for the words of Bayezid. Therefore, there was not an environment for me to tell the people. Therefore, I took them as a secret with me to the grave. Means that that language was not understandable, and that would create problem religiously. Therefore, I kept silent. I think they don't want to listen. They still talk. No, just. Another important factor is that, according to our sources, Bayezid was illiterate, was ummi. He didn't go to school. He didn't have official education. A member of ulama said that what Bayezid says is not from knowledge. Some member of ulama told Bayezid that what you say is not coming from knowledge, means that it is not knowledge-based. And Bayezid said that, "Do you have all knowledge?" And the man said no. And Bayezid said, "What I say comes from the other half of knowledge, that you didn't receive it, and I have received." Again, Bayezid said, "Oh God, don't make me an alim or zahid, ascetic, or qurra, one of the reciters of the Quran. Because this was prayed for people, that he is a qari." This was a position, high position, that he is a qari, or he is a zahid, ascetic, or he is alim. But as he said that, "Oh God, I don't ask you to make me one of them. Rather, if you want to bestow upon me some merit, give me a little thing from your things." And God's things are not to be alim, or to be zahid, or to be one of the qurra. Ahmad ibn Khuzrabiyyah said that, "I called to God," he's one of the mystics, "I called to God whoever I saw, I invited him to God. I called to God people, except Bayezid, whom I called from God. I called people to God. I called Bayezid from God." A man was knocking at Bayezid's door in Bastam. Bayezid said, "Who do you want?" "I want Bayezid." Bayezid said, "Go away. Shame on you. There is no one but God in this house." You know, this kind of controversial sentences. This is very interesting. Bayezid was saying his prayer behind an imam who asked him, you know, in Bastam there was a little town, there was a mosque, still there is a small mosque of Bayezid there. And Bayezid was going every day praying behind this imam. And one day the imam was in doubt that how this man is living. What is the source of living for him? Said that, whence does your daily bread come? How do you earn money? Bayezid said that, wait a second, so that I can repeat my prayers, because I prayed behind you, and now I think it was false. I repeat my prayer first, and then I will ask you. I will answer you. Because praying behind a man who doesn't know the provider of bread of people is false. Then you are an imam, and you ask me where is my bread come? It does come from. There are special servants for God, Bayezid said. There are special servants for God that if God, bestow upon them the paradise to veil them from Him, for 1 hour they will cry as if the people of the hell will cry to get out of it. The people from the hell are in such a burning situation, such a bad situation, that they cry that, oh God, take us out of hell. And he said that if God gives, there are some people, if God gives them paradise, but okay, you live in paradise, not with me, then they will cry, so that they are in a hell. Bayezid said that happiness by dunya is happiness by deception. Happiness by akhirah, by the day after, is happiness by happiness. Because we feel happiness, we feel happy because we have happiness. And happiness by God's love is happiness by light. So he was looking to happiness by light, not to happiness by paradise. You know, this is again refers to the Quranic word, because in the Quran we have that وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي وَجْهُ ابْتِغَاءَ اللَّهِ. There are two categories of people. There are one category who serve God to receive paradise from Him. But there are people who serve God to receive God. You know the terminology of Lawh Mahfuz. You know that in the Quran. The preserved tablet, meaning that somewhere that everything, all knowledge of, even the main source of the Quran, in the Quran they say that this comes from Lawh Mahfuz, meaning the place that all of these truth realities are manifested there. Somebody told Bayezid that everything is in the preserved tablet, Lawh Mahfuz. And Bayezid said, I am that tablet. All. I am. And Bayezid said that God offered me a kingdom in each of 1,000 stages. I refused. In the last stage, meaning that in 1,000 different stages, God gave me the kingdom of that stage. I refused. In the last stage, He asked me, God asked me, what do you wish then? Because I refused what he suggested. What do you wish then? I said, I wish not to wish. And this is a very beautiful, famous saying by Bayezid. It's very, very beautiful. He said that in the day of resurrection, I want to set up my tent at the hell door, as I know that it will become cold, as I am a rahmah for the people. He said that on that day, I don't accept to go to Jannah, to paradise. I put my tent in the door entrance of the hell, because if I am there, then the hell will not burn. This, and you know that they say that Bayezid was living with his mother. According to the main source, that he didn't marry. He was living with his mother, and one cold night, you know, Bastam's nights in the winter is very cold. Are very cold. The night that the mother asked him just some water, and Bayezid took some time to go and bring water from the spring. And when he came back, the mother was sleeping. And he stood there until the water became ice, and he didn't want to disturb the mother, and he stood there until morning. He said that I was continuously push myself, my nafs, towards God while crying. I was continuously push my nafs, myself, towards God while crying. He developed so that he was pushing me towards God smiling. I was pushing my nafs towards God by crying. But God gave me that grace so that I was pushing me towards God smiling. One day he was told, it is heard that you travel in 1 second from the east to the west, Tayyul Arz. You just 1 second you go from that side of the earth to the other side. He said that it may be the case, but this is a hassle for a mu'min, for a believer, as wherever he rises, east and west are present there. It is a hassle for me to travel by 5 seconds from east to west. No, whatever I am there, east come there and west come there. I don't need to travel. But I just said that I was circumambulating the house of God, Kaaba. But as I reached him, when I reached God, I saw the house circumambulating me then. But as he said that I came out intending Hajj. I wanted to go to Hajj. In one of the stations, he was traveling by foot. In one of the stations, somebody came to me asking, where are you going? No, it's not from Bayezid. Somebody was traveling to Hajj. In one station, Bayezid met him. And he told to him, how much money are you carrying? Because they used to gather money to be able to travel to Hajj for 1 year. It took 1 year time or something. And the man said 200 dirham, the money at that time. Then Bayezid said, okay, leave the money there, circumambulate me 7 rounds and give me that money, as I have many dependents, many people that I should feed. And the man said that I did circumambulate him gave him the money and returned home. One day, this is very interesting. One day his sajda, when he was making sajda in his prayer, took long. One day his sajda was prolonged. He was asked of his reason. People said that, why this time your sajda was so prolonged? And he said that when I said Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, when I was saying what we say in sajda, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, his respond, the God's respond to me, he should say me labbaik. He should respond to me that I'm hearing you. Because that response was delayed, I waited. I prolonged my sajda until I hear that response. I was waiting to receive it. You know that we believe, they say that when we are put in our grave on the first night, when we are buried, 2 angels will come to us, called Nakir and Munkar, 2 angels, and ask us, who is your God, who is your prophet, and what is your faith, and things like that. Somebody saw Bayazid in his dream, and asked him, what happened to you with all of these strange things that you said in your life? What happened to you when the angels came to you to ask you? Bayazid said that when they asked me who was my God, I told them, you will not reach to any point asking me this form, asking this from me. Go back to God. Ask Him that what I am to Him. You are asking me, who is my God? What's the use of that? Go back. I don't answer you. Go back to His God and ask Him what I am for Him. If I say hundreds times that He is my Lord, it will carry no meaning until He means me as His servant. He names me as His servant. Suppose that I claim that He is my God, Allah is my God, then it's useless. Go ask Him. If He said that I am His servant, then it is something. Then come back. So I didn't answer them and I put them away. He was exercising to be hungry, not to eat very much. Why do you praise your hunger so much? He replied, if Pharaoh was hungry, he wouldn't claim, I am Supreme Lord. He said, anyone who thinks that there is someone worse than him among people, he is yet arrogant. You know that as I told you, Kharaqan, the birthplace of Kharaqani, is up to the north of Bastan if you travel about 10 minutes driving. It is in the sources that each year Kharaqani Bayazid used to go to Kharaqan. It was 200 years before Kharaqani would come. Okay. Each time he would stand and while having a deep breath, he used to say, I smell the flavor of a man who is superior to me in 3 things. Tolerating the wife, farming and planting trees. His name is Ali and his agnon is Abul Hassan. He referred to Kharaqani. When you go to the grave of Kharaqani, this is written there. And if you want to have some sources to know more, it is good to see this source. Okay. Up to now, I tried to review some introductory remarks about the language of Bayezid, his social situation, and his impact on the other figures. If you don't have any question, I can move to Kharaqani, about 200 years after him. But before that, I stop if there is any clarification that I may make. Please.
Yeah, questions, please.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
How does the idea of not getting an education of a holy poet fits into the concept of mystical education for, the meaning of education for the whole mysticism in Islam?
I didn't get the point.
Well, Bayezid by himself, he didn't get any education.
Official education.
Yeah, but that's what we've asked a couple of times, whether it is possible for a saint not to be educated. And he's an example of a saint, a poet.
Of course, he answered that. Yeah, he answered this because he said that somebody told him that you are not educated, and so what you say is not baseless. And he told him, as I mentioned, he said that, do you know the whole universe of knowledge? And the man said no. He said that, okay, I'm coming from the second half that you don't know.
Yeah, but
Yes.
the position of a canonized, education system in Islamic mysticism, how they treat Bayezid, even now.
Is he an exception?
Yes, if he is an exception, or it could be.
No, he is.
Such exceptions.
You know, he is the founder. There are, as I mentioned, if you take the example of light, the light that we have in this room is light, but the sun is also light. When we talk about people who listen to this language, which was created by the founder, these people need to be educated for that language. But the one who created that, the source of knowledge for that language is himself.
But at least you have to accept his language.
Yeah, no. I explained about 20 minutes in the beginning of my lecture that here we cannot prove or disprove acceptance. You may easily say, of this modern times, you know that nobody can help you to accept or not. As I say, it's a piece of art. If you are visiting Louvre Museum or British Museum somewhere and you are standing in front of a painting 2 hours, and some people say that, why? And you say, just beautiful. And the other may pass less than 1 minute. Nobody can argue which one is correct. We cannot.
But when you're talking about Beethoven, he wasn't a religious musician. He was just by himself.
No, I'm not talking about the Beethoven music. I didn't mention as his religious. No, I was talking about creativity.
No, I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
I'm asking about how it functions inside the educational system, and in how people treat him, and when they start understanding that he is a high-level mystic.
I don't know.
In a historical perspective.
I don't know.
You know.
Our knowledge about the historical situation of that time is nothing. Yes, please.
But correct me if I'm wrong. There were certainly times after his death and later on, 200, 300, 4 years, where writers and other artists didn't necessarily condemn what he said, but just condemned him for saying it, right? Like, yes, it may be true what he said, but he shouldn't have revealed it. So there were times that they criticized him. I think that's the question. Later on, historically, after his death, and when they're looking at his writing and other Urafa, there certainly were times where they either said what he said was okay, or he shouldn't have said it, even though it may be true, or they just outright said this is totally bogus, we shouldn't even listen to it. So there were times where his language was criticized or approved during periods.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what she's asking. So how does this fit into? That's the question, right?
Well, the question is that until now we've been hearing about mysticism in the context of Islamic education, and this usually comes with training. And now we hear about a figure which is exceptional in a way. You know, he didn't receive his education, yet his poetry and his ideas, you know, are very, very valuable. So I guess the question is, you know, is he part of the mystical canon? You know, if you can use this term, a canon.
He's not part. He's the founder.
Well, he's the founder.
Yeah.
So